Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Combo Breaker 99. I'm back with another post-fight analysis video. All right, y'all. Claressa Shields versus Abigail Montes. All right, y'all. So I got this pick wrong, and it wasn't like I was 100% sure. I didn't put any money on it because I know this is the world of MMA. Anything can happen. And like I said, going into this fight here, this was a good matchup for both fighters because on the real, okay, Claressa Shields is a multi-division world champion in boxing, but that's a different animal. That's a totally different animal. So if you match this fight up, this is more on the level for both fighters. Both young, undefeated fighters. 21-year-old Abigail Montes, 2-0. Then you got Claressa Shields, who's 1-0. So this was a good matchup. This was a good learning experience for both fighters. And it was pretty much on even playing field. It was an even playing field. I mean, boxing fans, they're getting it wrong. They think that Claressa Shields, because she's a GOAT in boxing, that she is the same fighter in the world of MMA. But people have to understand, the world of MMA is a totally different animal than it is boxing. And, I'm going to talk about this here in a minute at the end of the video about the loss, because a lot of people are already questioning the loss. A lot of people are already questioning that. They're already thinking that because she lost, should she go to another, should she go back to boxing, or should she just leave MMA? But no, it's a learning experience. People have to understand that. Boxing fans have to understand that. I'm going to keep telling them that over and over. But this fight here, Claressa Shields, she went in here with a boxer's approach. That's what cost her the fight. Let's be real. I think that Abigail Montes, her striking is not the best, but her MMA striking is better than Claressa Shields. You can see it in her movement. Like, her MMA striking altogether isn't like the greatest, or it's not really like polished like that, but it's effective enough to throw Claressa Shields off her game and keep her out of range. Because if you look at Claressa Shields, if you look at her stance, it was more of a boxer stance in this fight. She was looking to land long shots, but while she was landing these long shots, and the way she had her feet positioned, she was getting hit with leg kicks. And she couldn't really find her range with the jab or the right hand because she was trying to avoid leg kicks, which means she was standing completely, or, not completely, but, too far out of range to land the strikes. She needed to measure more with her own leg kicks. She needed to check some of those leg kicks, or she needed to start, start touching the calf of Abigail Montes when she closed in. But she was taking the full-on boxer approach, just trying to walk Abigail Montes down. So Abigail Montes, she got comfortable, just staying on the outside with the lateral movement, and started touching the leg, and every time Claressa Shields would rush in with the hands, what does a wrestler or grappler do? All they got to do is just clinch up, smother that offense, and keep you there and get that clinch control, and that's how you earn rounds. So boxing fans have to understand that's effective work in MMA. If you clinch somebody up and you can pin them there, whether or not Claressa looked damaged or not, she was losing these rounds. You know what I mean? She was losing these rounds because she was getting pinned up, and she was getting dominated on the ground as well. She wasn't getting hit with a lot of shots. MMA fans, boxing fans, they have to understand that. It's not all about strikes here. It's about ground control and how long, these fighters, like these jiu-jitsu practitioners and grapplers can keep a fighter down. I'm trying to keep it as elementary as possible for y'all boxing fans. But real quick, let's go back and break down the fight. First off, I got to say, Claressa Shields, shout out to Claressa for taking the fight, and continuing to try to further her MMA career. And shout out to Abigail Montes. I've been watching her. Like I said, I had to favor Claressa because I thought her overall striking would have transitioned over well. And I thought she would have been working the kicks more here. But Montes, she works in Lobo Gym. She works with Aldana, Grasso, Karina Rodriguez, Alejandra Lara. She was looking like a raw Alejandra Lara in there, banging. She was quick to use the strength, the size, step inside the side like Irene Aldana. She was much more comfortable like an MMA striker, So she definitely won the fight. She won the fight. I think I had to give her all 3 rounds. Real quick, let's go back and look at the fight. I'm going to break it down for y'all boxing fans and your MMA fans on how I saw Abigail win this fight. So round 1, right away, Abigail Montes, she was circling out of range. She was circling to find her own range with the leg kicks, keeping Claressa Shields out of range to land any of her punches. Shields, she was trying to walk her down, but she had to avoid those leg kicks, which was keeping her out of range to land any punches. You can see Shields is trying to avoid those leg kicks, so she can't get. You can see she was avoiding leg kicks because every time she would try to reach with the jab, she was missing. And you can kind of see the legs would stay in place, and she would kind of reach out of her range. She was kind of reaching off balance. So Shields takes that chance to punch her way in with a flurry to get the clinch and press Montes. But Montes here, she gets the lock on the body, she gets the lock on the body and uses her leg to reverse the clinch. Like, look, watch those legs, boxing fans. Watch what she does with the legs. She uses that leg in the middle and she reverses the clinch when Claressa gives up the underhooks. So now Montes has to control and presses Shields on the cage. Not much damage or strikes, like I said, for Montes here, but she was using her size and her strength and positioning well here. So Shields needed another underhook to try and break and get an angle where she could land some knees. But Montes, I had to give her the round because she had that clinch control for a good like 2.5 minutes here, and just overall being effective here, keeping Claressa pinned to the cage, and also got in some knees too. Second round though, Claressa Shields, she needed to let Montes come to her. She doing a little bit too much chasing here, kind of like Sabina Mazo was doing against Agapova. I mean, not the same way, but the similar type of rhythm where she was trying to walk her down instead of, keeping control of the center of the octagon. She needed that center to make Montes come to her, and then she could start landing her own kicks and her own jabs. But like I said, let her come to her, find her range more with her own leg kicks instead of reaching with the jab in the right hand. And that's another thing. Shields didn't look too comfortable to start throwing kicks. She was boxing more in there. She was kind of resorting back to her boxing. Montes was loose. She was much more loose. She was throwing feints with the kicks and, just circling. Shields, again, she rushes in with a wild flurry, and they clinch again. Montes takes control and presses Shields to the cage to neutralize the boxer. Using her head control, getting the underhooks. Montes is in control here again, once again on the cage. Montes grappling is effective. She's locking the body. But Shields, she's able to break. She goes back to the center. She defends this clinch well this time. She goes back to the center. But once again, Claressa Shields, she wildly punches her way in, lands a big right hand, and then another one too. She landed some good shots. Now she did put some red on Montes, but after she lands these shots, Shields, she's landing these big shots. Montes, she's feeling it. So what does Montes do? Changes levels, takes Claressa Shields down, and that's what I'm saying. Like, when a boxer or striker, they start to get effective with these shots, expect that expect that opponent to take you down. So once you land some good shots, make them count and get out of the way or knock that person out, because they're gonna switch levels and take you down. So Montes, she takes Shields down here, works in that guard, landing some good body shots, pressing Shields, keeping her in that angle so she can't use the fence. She's keeping her at an angle on the ground so she can't use the fence, because Claressa was trying to scoot to the fence so she could get back up here. Shields, she makes it back up, but she finishes the round with Montes controlling her in that clinch once again. All right, so last round, in my opinion, I know some people had it 1-1 here, but some people had it 2-0. I heard some people had it 2-0, but for Claressa, but here, to me, Claressa Shields, she needs a finish, in my opinion. She needed to go to Montez's body with the kicks to slow Montes down, to line up that right hand that she wants to land upstairs. Shields, she was able to push her way in with some flurries and land another right hand, but they get a little wild. They get a little wild here. Like, she needed to go to the body a little bit more, maybe land one or two of those shots and then switch to knees. She was able to defend another takedown of Montes, but Montes, she winds up with that same position, trying to control Shields on the fence, just smother the boxer, smother that long striker. Back to the center once again, Shields, she's really starting to resort to her boxing, which was dangerous. She was in this position, like, walking her opponent down like in boxing. So, Montez is tagging her a little bit. She's tagging her a little bit with these leg kicks. Then Shields, she's looking to land some overhand rights, but Montez, she makes her miss. She throws that wild overhand right. She makes her miss again and again, switches level, takes Shields down. Montez on top, controlling that half guard, landing some hard strikes, keeping Shields pinned and transitions to full mount. And it almost looks scary here, man, because Montez is on top. She unloads that ground and pound. Nothing too big, but it wins the round. It wins the round because on that last 20, 30 seconds, she starts firing off some big shots. She's missing some, landing some. Claressa, got to give her credit. She was able to, deflect a lot of these shots. But, hey, that ground and pound, when you get to some more serious opponents, heavy hitters, it's going to be scary. Brittany Elkin had that position too in that in her first fight. Remember that fight. So yeah, man, I had to give this fight to Abigail Montes all the way. All 3 rounds. It wasn't dominant. It was competitive, but it was just the fact that Abigail Montes just had those other tools. Once again, it's a perfect example of what an MMA fighter needs to really survive. Not just survive, but to make it in the game. You know what I mean? Like, wrestling is a big thing. That's why I was talking about this the other day. Like, you see wrestlers, judokas, and grapplers you see them succeed and go further than when boxers transition over. And I said, hell, you even see more Thai fighters transition well over boxers. It's because, you know, boxers are so just used to working the hands, and their position and their body movement and their balance is always just in position to punch. Whereas, you know, when you're dealing with wrestlers, grapplers, they're always in a they're always in a rhythm to move the whole body, you know, switching levels, you know, dipping down, diving in, shooting for ankles. So when you give a wrestler or a grappler striking, you know, you can start to teach them how to just throw the basic fundamentals, but at the same time, still keep their position to take a fighter down. And that's how Abigail Montes was using her striking. Like, you know, she would land kicks, but she was still always in a position to dip under and take a fighter down. You know what I mean? Like, she could throw a couple punches here and there, but she wasn't really trying to strike with the boxer, because she knew if she tried to strike with the boxer, she would get knocked out or she would get hurt. So she would work the kicks, you know, like a kickboxer against a boxer, and then eventually she would switch levels and turn into a grappler on the boxer and wrestle the hell out of that boxer. You know what I mean? So yeah, again, this is not hating on Claressa Shields. This is just all facts, and this is all truth, and just off of research, what we've seen. You know, boxers don't tend to succeed in the world of mixed martial arts because of the discipline. You know, it's all about hands with them. You know, again, more Thai fighters, they use hands, they use kicks, they use knees, they use Thai clinches. You know, they wrestle. You know, they toss opponents down here and there. You know, kickboxing, it's much more elusive. Again, the grapplers and wrestlers always in position to move their legs and switch levels and get a fight down to the ground and get dirty. But when you see a boxer on his back, you know, it's like seeing the lion trying to fight the crocodile in the water. When they get that, when the jaws get locked on that jugular of the lion, they get taken into deep waters and you don't see them anymore. You know, I've seen it a couple of times just watching these videos, animal videos. It's so similar to what you see happen to a boxer when they get in there with a mixed martial artist. You know what I mean? I saw the cheetah one time drinking some water and didn't see the crocodile coming up. Boom, grabbed the neck, pulled him in the water. That was it. Now, when I seen a leopard on land, you know, stalking the crocodile, you know, out of his territory, that crocodile got tore up. You know what I mean? That crocodile got tore up. So listen to what I'm saying here, boxing fans. Listen to exactly what I'm saying here. When the crocodile is on the land, it's on land, it's on that territory of the leopard or the cheetah. That's the cheetah's game. You know what I mean? That's the leopard or the cheetah or the jaguar's meal. They're going to tear it up. But when you get near the water, getting thirsty, you don't see that crocodile coming, boom, it takes you in the water, you're out of your element. You're out of your element, you know? So yeah, man, I'm just being real. Like I said, shout out to Claressa. I love her as a boxer. You know, I want to see her grow in this sport. You know, I definitely want to see her grow in the sport of MMA. But this is not over. It's not over. People have to understand, like boxing fans, I'm going to keep addressing y'all and targeting y'all because y'all are the ones thinking that now that she lost, it's over. You're trying to find like a way to make an excuse for her. But no, like it's not over. All the greats lose early in their career. You know, Chris Cyborg lost her first fight. Zhang Wei Li lost her first fight. You know, hell, Chelsea Chandler lost her first fight. You know, and they still have the confidence to go on because they know this is a sport of many disciplines and anything can happen. Anything can happen in this sport. You know what I mean? So 1-1 is not over. I mean, it's probably going to do something to her mojo just because she is used to winning, especially in the sport of boxing. But that's just another one of the things that's telling you, look, you have to go in with the mindset that this is not boxing. This is not boxing. Anything can happen. You know what I mean? You can be winning 1 minute, then boom, you could catch a head kick and you knocked out. Or you could be winning 1 minute and boom, you get taken down and you getting choked out. You know, so let's be real. You know, it's not over for Claressa, which is why I'm gonna talk about here real quick. It's not over because, like I said, there's a lot of things for her to learn. She hasn't been in this sport too long. There's still a lot of things she can do to grow, and there's a lot of things she could do wrong to, you know, make her just fall off and not want to do it. So it's on her to get with the right gym now that can really work with her and just take her to that next level and just be real with her and transition her boxing into striking. You know what I mean? She needs somebody that's really going to work on that with her and also tell her to start attending these grappling tournaments. You know, even if she's not participating yet, she might want to start going to these grappling tournaments like these SUG tournaments and start like observing and start, like, bumping elbows with some of these solid jiu-jitsu practitioners, like Miranda Maverick, even Jillian Robertson, Caitlin Kagan's out there, Jessica I is out there, Roxanne Modaffar, even the young girl Danielle Kelly, who's, one of the top girls in BJJ today. You know what I mean? She's one of those girls that she needs to go out there and, start rubbing elbows with. Hell, even, like Tanisha Tennant, Tanisha Tennant and Budokan, they've been doing wonders for her. They're molding Tanisha Tennant into, a real mixed martial artist. You know what I mean? She's a work in progress, and she could be in the UFC right now. She could be in the UFC right now. So for Claressa, it's going to be a lot of work, and that's not a bad thing. It's definitely not a bad thing. Abigail Montes, like I said, I've been seeing her already on the scene. She's still raw at 2-0, but she's been coming in with the mindset of mixed martial artists, not boxer transition to mixed martial artists. Abigail Montes is is a fighter that's been working on everything. She's surrounded by great talent, and she can get a little bit of everything. The boxer and brawler from Karina and Irene, the ground game and more boxing from Grasso and Alejandra Lara. So it's gonna be a hard road. It's gonna be a hard road, and she just can't go in there with that mindset that, oh, if I lose, it's over. Or I was looking at her Facebook last night. She said that she couldn't understand. She thought she improved and did everything right. But that's the thing. You feel like you could do everything right, but your opponent, they could be doing everything right. So it's all about making adjustments on the fly and really being prepared for what's to come in there. Making sure that you're ready. That's why I say, hey, she needed to take a few amateur fights, maybe take a few underground fights on a lesser platform where there's not much pressure. That probably would have worked for her too. But yeah, man, there's just a lot of things that Claressa needs to work on. It's not over. I won't say that. As long as she takes the right approach, I just think she needs to really work on her stance. Start becoming more of a MMA striker and not a boxer. Kick them bad habits of trying to resort to being a boxer. If anything, if she's going to be stationary, she needs to look at more look at film of like Valentina Shevchenko. Valentina Shevchenko is much more stationary, so she could learn from that, learn how to throw kicks off of that stationary stance like that. Watch fighters like that. So yeah, work on the stance, take down defense, and just ground. That's what she needs to be on. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got on this one. It's probably gonna be a podcast episode. I'm gonna probably go ahead and make this 71.5 or 72.5. I put it on my platforms because I want to address this to everybody. Like, it's not over for Claressa, but at the same time, you cannot give your favorite fighters false confidence. So yeah, that's the lesson here, guys. My final thoughts: do not give your favorite fighters false confidence. If you ride with them, be real with them. If they're making mistakes, hey, let them know right now, because it could turn into something ugly down the line. Combo Breaker 99, I'm out. Subscribe. Peace.